did this kind of quick because I had these boxes in the floorboard of my truck in the front seat with the heater blowing on them, trying to warm these boxes up. It's pretty chilly here this morning. We're about 42 degrees right now. Sun's been up a little bit. I think it hit like 40, 41 degrees last night. And that's why I was looking. We lost a few of these bees in the swarm last night from the cold air. They'll ball up. It's like they call it the sacrificial ball. They'll ball up around that queen and use their own body heat to protect her. And the bees on the outside slowly die and fall off as it goes. And some of them will actually stay on the ball dead, and then the next morning, as the other bees wake off, they shuck them off. But it looks like there's a good number of bees left, the majority of what it was. I can't cut this pecan tree because this is one of the grafted trees for this orchard. So, and they're too low to shake off. So all I can do is just slide this box up. I've already got one bee on the entrance, kind of walking around here. I've had bees in this box before, so it's already got a hive smell to it. I would have just put some frames, deep frames in that box with the lid on it, but I don't have any deep frames available right now, so I just put a little medium box on top with 5 frames of starter comb on it. And both of those boxes have had bees before, and they've got the smell of the hive. I put a couple little drops of lemongrass oil in the bottom just to extra attract it, to make it feel more homey to them. And I'm hoping that when it's supposed to get up like 75 degrees today, I'm hoping that will coax them on in there. If I can get them in there, then I'll come back and I'll change the entrance and put a sugar water feeder and all that kind of stuff and spin them around when they got a good entrance. I see a lot of movement out of this swarm now. When I set the box down, the wind's blowing this way and I block the wind off of them. So they're already warming up a little bit, just getting that cold wind off of them. So hopefully they'll like that and go. And if not, that means that they found them a better spot. So we'll just see. I'm kind of in a hurry this morning. I've got a job I'm supposed to get to. Blessed with a spot where I could work by myself today and not have to be around people. So we're going to find out what happens. Those are some real pretty bees, though. I would like to catch them, and I'd like to save them. But like I said, it's supposed to get 75 degrees today, so they should, when it warms up, they're going to make a move somewhere. Hopefully they just hadn't already decided where they're going to go. But I'll let y'all know what happens. Alright folks, I set this box up this morning, and these girls hadn't gone in here. We're supposed to get down to like 41 degrees again tonight, and as small as this swarm is, if it doesn't go into a place sheltered before the sun goes down to this evening, they're probably going to die. They're going to get to a size they won't ever recover. So what I'm going to do is get this, and we're fixing to drop bees in here. And I'm going to try to ease up here, and hopefully I can get the queen out and get her in this box. I got a lot of vines and stuff in here, so this is kind of a hard one to work. That was why I was hoping I'd get them to go in on their own. As I rake this second ball, when they hit the bottom of the box, I could see a really good ball of bees kind of cling together, and I felt like I got the queen at that point. That was why I went ahead and covered it up. And now the big question of whether I got the queen or not is up in the air. All right, I see them. I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna pull this off the tripod so you can see a little better. See how they're going in that entrance and they're fanning and they're standing up. They're letting everybody else know where the queen went. I'm thinking that I got her, folks. That's usually pretty good. I speeded this part of the footage up for you so you could watch the whole march into the box. They just progressed. Probably about 2/3 of the swarm walked right on in the box. Just took them a little time. They just follow the scent trail and follow the one in front of them, and they just slowly ease in the box. They got about 2/3 of the bees in there, and then there was one little ball that just kept hanging to the limb, and I had to reach up and kind of scoop them out on the porch a little bit. And once I did that, they started marching back on in there pretty good, and I kind of shook the limbs a little bit a couple times, and they started trying to ball up again. But other than that, they marched right on in there. Now we just got to let them get settled, and then tomorrow I'll try to put a little bit of sugar water in them. I'll show you that. We'll get right on over to that and see what happens. Good morning, folks. It's about 43 degrees here this morning. We've got this. I don't have any activity on either one of the swarms this morning. It's cold enough, nobody's moving around, which is what I want. I'm gonna fix and put this sugar water feeder at the entrance for them, change the entrance reducers out where I can get it in there and stuff, and I really didn't want to have to suit up to do that. So I doubt we'll see any bees moving this morning. I'm hoping we don't, but we're gonna get them a little bit of, I'm gonna try to do this where y'all can see what's going on here, and hopefully this doesn't irritate those girls too much. Let's see what they do. All right, I had to kind of get this thing, do a little bit of engineering on the field here to get this to work. This box, the opening is just a hair smaller than my feeders, and I didn't realize that this one was like this till I got up here. So I had to do well, hopefully this will hold up here for a few days until they can get some water in them. And I'll have to come back and with a little bit different rig later on to get it set up right for them. But for right now, this will get them access to a little bit of sugar water, and it reduce that entrance, which is the main thing that I'm after right now. I can come back and set inner cover on this and set that feeder on that, and then a deep 5-frame box on top of that with the lid, and that lets them go up and eat out of that without robbers coming in, which is the better setup. But I'm short on inner covers right now, so I'm trying to just make it do until I have time to get the tools out and make some sawdust a little bit and bend a few nails and get a few things built. But this should have them. I was surprised when I went back looking at my footage when I was putting this together. I realized that that morning, I looked at footage between that morning and that afternoon, and you can see in the picture right here on this side, that was what the swarm looked like that morning, and then this is what the swarm looked like that evening when I got back over here. And from her being on that tree through the day when it warmed up, workers coming through foraging were attracted to her, and that swarm had actually grown, and it looked like it almost doubled in size. I mean, it got pretty good size. It's actually went from a swarm that I was worried about, I didn't know if it would make it, to something that's actually, I think it's a pretty viable swarm now. I think they should make it if everything goes right. So we're going to find out. That tickled me. I looked, after I got done in here, I had looked in the other swarm that I'd caught and just peeked in on them real quick. I didn't have my smoker with me, so I just eased the inner cover up and looked, and that box was almost packed with bees working in there. So I don't think that I lost many from that swarm to this one. I think it was from the main bee tree where all these swarms were coming out of, which is probably 40 yards from me right now, over on the other side of the driveway. And I think foragers coming out of there just kept packing in and supplementing with them. I'd had my brother-in-law told me that a while back, me and him were talking, and I didn't realize it. He said if you're rearing your own queens, if you get a fertile queen that you've got that's been fertilized, that's been with the drone and is ready to start her own hive, that you can put her in a one of the little wood boxes, the containers that they ship the bees in, and you can actually wire it up and hang it off a tree close to some other beehives for a day or two, and bees just coming through foraging will be attracted to that queen, and they'll ball up around them, and you can actually make you your own swarm of bees that way. And I didn't realize you could do that just till here recently. That was kind of a new one on me, but I think that's what happened right here, was her just hanging here. Her scent just drew the bees that were flying by working, and had rebuilt the swarm. But however it worked out really good for this queen, because it let her beef her numbers back up after that cold night. But we've got her some sugar water. We got her in a warm spot. She's got 5 medium frames of starter comb where they can start drawing them some comb and get jump started until I can get them some deep frames to go in with it. When they fill that up, I'll put deep frames in underneath here to let them keep drawing out and building up. When they get that, I'll put one more deep in between 5 frame. And when they get that ready, then they'll be ready. I can transfer those 2 deeps into one 10 frame box, put these 5 drawn frames medium on top of it, and put 5 empties out and let them draw them on out. And if they get that far by the end of the summer, then they'll be a strong enough hive I can winter them, and they'll come in going good, ready to go for next year. So it's all up to them now. We'll keep some sugar water on them. I'm going to pick up a little pollen supplement to give them so they don't have to forage as much for pollen. We'll find out how they do. God bless.